In this session, I am going to be introducing 4 words and 8 Jagat principles. I personally prefer to use the word Jagat than use the word universe, right? Because Jagat is a far more stronger word, right? So instead of saying universal principles, I would like to say Jagat principles. Pujya Swamiji always emphasizes a lot on understanding words very clearly. No doubts, no confusion on the words. You can't use one word in place of another, right? Of course, there are synonyms. Like, for example, a word presentation is different from a word communication. The word debate is different from discussion, is different from argument, right? So he calls it Shabda Jnana. That means when we say a word, we must really know the meaning of the word really, really deeply, right? So I think many times when we understand the words correctly, a lot of questions fall out of our mind because we go back to the Shabda Jnana, we get it clear, right? So I'll be introducing 4 words and 8 principles to you today. Preamble. Intellect has its limitations. Okay, and there's a whole world beyond intellect, right? Like whole world beyond instinct, then we come to intellect, and there's a whole world beyond intellect. Similarly, knowledge has its limitations. Let me take an example. Suppose I say rainbow, and you ask me what's a rainbow, I'll say, yeah, it's a rainbow that appears on the sky just before rains or just after rains. Okay, how many colors rainbow has? 7 colors. What are the colors? Then I can tell you, Vibgayar, what are the colors? What's the sequence of colors? I can tell you what the sequence of colors. But if you ask me, why only 7 colors? Why not 8? I don't have an answer. Why is that sequence in this way? Why can't it be in a separate sequence? I don't have an answer. Why does it appear at the edge of the sky and not in the middle of the sky? I don't have an answer, right? Similarly, if you ask me, Ranga, how does a water boil? I'll say water boils at 100 degrees. Okay. Why does it boil at 100 degrees? Why not 90 degrees? I don't have an answer. Why not 110 degrees? I don't have an answer. Suppose you ask me, why does water become vapor on heating? Why can't it become ice on heating? I don't have an answer. Right. In every aspect, right? For example, suppose you ask me, can a normal metal become gold? The whole process of alchemy that they talk about in chemistry, right? Can a normal metal become gold? Yeah, then I can say, yeah, every metal has got valency, and when the valency increases, the metal changes its character. Okay, how can valency increase? Valency can increase by a very high level of radiation. What are the 3 levels of heat transfer? Conduction, convection, and radiation. Why only 3 are there? I don't have an answer. Right? Why does the valency change on high radiation? Yeah, a little bit of scientific explanation can be given, but that is a point at which we will say, I don't know. Or we can even go about confidently saying, I don't think anyone knows. Right? So knowledge has its limitations. At some point, we will give an answer. That's how it is. It doesn't matter whether you know it or you don't know it. It doesn't matter whether we accept it or don't accept it. Why is gravity 9.8 meters per second square? I don't know. Why can't it be 10? I don't know. Why is gravity different in different spaces? Like, why is gravity so low inside moon? I don't know. At some point, I'm going to say, that's how it is. Right? But for everything and anything, if I say that's how it is, then that is sheer ignorance. But knowledge has its limitation. I just wanted, we all need to just accept it, that intellect has certain limitations. It can process information up to a point. Knowledge has certain limitations beyond which the only answer is, that's how it is, right? We accept it as it is and we work around everything around it. That's it. Then that is an intelligent way to live, because you don't question beyond a point, because we can't, because we don't have the answer, right? Now, with this preamble, let me explain the 4 words I've chosen for today. I think from time to time, that's a learning I had in the last couple of months interacting with all of you, and the huge depth of questions that you come out with. Amazing. Today, Jayashree just, it was actually like a floodgate. She just opened. As soon as live chat was open, you had some, 1 million questions. So many of us have been holding on questions for years together, for which we have not found answers. Now, do I have all the answers? Definitely no. Right? I'm on the journey as much as yourself. But I am distinctly better than many of you. Let me repeat this word. I am distinctly better than many of you, if not all of you, on one aspect, on the age. I was born before many of you. Okay. Other than that, I don't carry any advantage. I am as much part of the journey as you're all. Right. I've been fortunate in receiving some knowledge from some sources. Right. And I am, to the best of my ability, spending a lot of time trying to convert complex things into simple things so that it can be presented in a manner that's absorbable by people, right? So I don't have answers to many of your questions, all right? I may not, because we'll just go and search it together, right? Now, 4 words. So from time to time, I'm going to expose Shabda Jnanam in every session now. For this session, I've chosen 4 words for deep understanding. Okay. Anybody who is part of Joyful Vedanta journey should understand these words exactly the same way, right? First word is Ishvara. Some people spell it with I, some people spell it with E, doesn't matter. Ishvara. First of all, Ishvara is not God, because there is no God. There's only godliness. Go back to 1, right? There is only a set of orders. So we had an equation in season 1, first session. God equal to godliness equal to orders equal to intelligence. That's all we said. There's no physical person called God. Ishvara is not a person. Ishvara, many people think it is Shiva. No, it is not Shiva. Okay. So what is this Ishvara? When we say Ishvara, what do we mean? Ishvara is nothing but just a name that denotes the entire bundle of orders, the entire intelligence. That's what we refer to as Ishvara, right? So we need to be very, very clear about this expression. These 4 words, knowledge, is important for us to proceed with 8 principles that I'm going to talk to you about. That's why these words are important. Okay, Ishvara. So Ishvara simply means intelligence. Intelligence means bundle of orders. That's it. It's godliness. There is no person. Ishvara is not a Hindu principle. Ishvara is not a Shiva. Ishvara is not a God. Ishvara is just intelligence, which is there manifested in the Jagat. Right? Second word, Devata. Lot of questions came about. If gods and goddesses were part of subsequent Puranas, is reference to gods and goddesses made in the Vedas, right? And to which I answered in the PDF saying that Devatas are maintained in, mentioned in the Vedas. I think we need to understand what this Devata is all about. We have heard lots of stories, okay? We have heard stories like Agni Deva. We have heard stories like Surya Deva. We have heard stories like Varuna Deva. We have heard stories like Indra, for example, as a Deva, head of Deva, right? And we have heard stories like what? Your Rishi was doing tapas, and Indra got scared. I don't know why Indra should get scared, but Indra got scared. He sent a tsunami, he sent a tornado, he sent animals, and the Rishi did not shake off. Then he sent Ramba, Urvashi, Menaka. Right? We hear all the stories. So who is this Indra? Indra is Deva. Okay, what is Deva? I think we need to understand Devata. What does Devata mean? First, let's understand. Human being has got a creative ability. Like I can create another human being. Your dog can create another dog. Your tree can produce a tree of the same kind. An apple tree cannot produce a mango seed. An apple tree can produce only an apple seed, right? So individual species, we have certain creative ability. But imagine all these creative abilities are combined together. Say, let's look at, say, Brahma as a creator. Brahma can create a tree, Brahma can create a dog, Brahma can create a human being, right? Which means when we aggregate, let me use a word which is very popularly used these days, when we aggregate all the creative abilities of all the species across the Jagat, across time, that total creative ability, that total intelligence is what we call as a Devata, right? Like there is Agni inside my body. That Agni can do a few things. It can break food into small components, nutrients. Okay? It can just stay in the stomach. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the digesting Agni in your stomach. Right? That's what Krishna says. Right? So, the Agni inside my body is capable of doing something. The Agni on the candle can do certain things. The Agni in the forest can do certain things. Right? Now, if you look at the aggregated capability of Agni, all that Agni can do, that entire intelligence, which is a total collective aggregated power, is what we call as a Agni Deva, Devata. So Devata is nothing but the aggregated summation of certain ability. Right? So you can now understand there is a Varuna Deva. Varuna Deva is nothing but the aggregated total capability of water, what water can do. Right? I mean, there is water inside my body also. It can do only certain things. Right? And there is water inside, say, a cacti plant, cactus plant. Right? It can do certain things. There is water which is stored inside a camel. Right? It can do certain things. But what is the total capability of water? Then there is a Varuna Deva. Basically, it's a term, right? So these Devatas are directly mentioned in the Vedas. Right? Because when we say Devata, we must know what the word Devata means. Right? Second word. The third word is Prarthana, prayer. There is no God at all. For whom are we praying? When we offer Naivedyam, to whom are we offering Naivedyam? There is no God. Right? And nobody is going to consume it. And we saw when we came to Atma and Anatma, in the earlier two sessions before, we said self has two components, Atma and Anatma. Atma is that non-changeable, no start, no end, no attribute, non-perceptible, all that we said. Right? And we gave an example of space. Space can never be affected by anything. You do a Homa inside space, or you do your murder inside space, space doesn't get affected. So space doesn't get affected. Space doesn't demand anything. Space doesn't accept anything. What are we offering Naivedyam for what? Every day. Whom are we offering Naivedyam? Right. To whom we perform a lot of homas, we do a lot of karma. For whom are we doing all this? If there is somebody who's just not going to accept anything. Right? I think we need to understand what's the meaning of prarthana. Prarthana is prayer. What are we praying for? Will prayer change things? I read a very, very powerful quote which said, prayers don't necessarily change things for you. Let me repeat. Prayers don't necessarily change things for you. It changes you for things. Right? What does prayer do? You stand in front and say, oh God, give me money. You think somebody is going to open the floodgate and give you money? Or knock at the door and give you money without you working for it? No. Right. You go around a tree in a temple. Somebody asked me a question, tying up a coconut in a temple. You go around a peepal tree, right? And then if you go around a peepal tree for 21 days, women conceive. Is that all? Sorry. No. So what is all this prarthana about? What does it do? I think we need to understand this very well. Prarthana, prayer means what? If you go back to the Sankalpa Siddhi, you will know prarthana is nothing but an intent that you're letting out. That's it. And you give power to it. Right? And certain natural elements have certain power. That's all. I don't know how many of you have seen. Why should you go around a peepal tree? Why can't you go around a banyan tree? Why can't you go around a palm tree? Why a peepal tree in a temple? I don't know how many of you have seen the YouTube video. There is a YouTube video where you just do a search and find out, using a simple peepal tree leaf, they charge a mobile phone. Okay. You can do a search on YouTube and figure out. Please don't do it now. Later, after the session. Right? Fine. So different trees have different energies. Right? They always suggest don't sleep under a tree in the night. Why? Because we take in oxygen and let out carbon dioxide. Trees consume carbon dioxide and let out oxygen. But in the night, why should you not sleep under a tree? Simple reason, in the night, trees behave like humans. They consume oxygen and let out carbon dioxide, right? So there's no point in sleeping under a tree. Then there's no difference. But whereas under a tulsi plant is the only plant which always consumes carbon dioxide and gives out oxygen. Right? These are scientific facts. So when you pray to a tulsi plant or when you pray in a temple, what do you actually do? You're just letting out a sankalpa. You're just letting out a thought, an intent. And when you charge it, go back to that sankalpa siddhi session, when you charge it, there is a high chance it gets manifested. That's it. Right? So prarthana is not done. You may have an idol in front of you, an Ishta Devata in front. Right? That is just for you to develop that devotion. That's all. Right? If you have an Ishta Devata, when you look at the Ishta Devata, you develop devotion. Right? For example, if you love your mother a lot, when mother comes in front of you, the emotions that flood your mind are very different. Right? Or when you hate a particular brother of yours, and when that brother comes into you, there's a flood of different emotions that come into your mind, right? So the idea of keeping an Ishta Devata in front is not that the Ishta Devata has got power. The idea of keeping an Ishta Devata in front and doing prarthana is to set our own mind in the correct frame. Ultimately, every prarthana is for ourselves. Right? Every karma, every action we do is for ourselves. Right? Right? Self-care is different from selfish. Right? It's ultimately for our own good. When I go and seek grace in front of the Lord and sing prayers, I'm seeking grace. I'm still seeking something. It's for me. Right? So prarthana, let's understand prarthana very well. Right? Then last one is buddhi. Buddhi, so far we have seen as part of the mind. Mind had 4 components: manas, chitta, buddhi, and ahamkara. Buddhi, so far we interpreted as intellect. But there's another element of buddhi. Buddhi is also means mindset. Okay. In fact, the scriptures very clearly say it is not the action that gets you the karma pala. It is the intent with which you do the action that gets you the karma pala. What is your role? You kill somebody as an army person, you get a medal. You kill somebody because you are feeling bored and it's a long time you kill someone, then you may get a death sentence. Right? Action is killing. Right? So what is a mindset? The mindset decides everything. In fact, there's a very beautiful Zen story. An enlightened master was quizzed by somebody. I'm not sure if I shared this earlier. If I've shared this earlier, please pardon me for the repetition. Right? An enlightened master was quizzed by somebody. So what were you doing before enlightenment? He said, I was drawing water from the well, and I was, giving it to my plants. Okay, what are you doing after enlightenment? He said, I'm drawing water from the well. He said, then what's the difference? He said, the difference is attitude. I do the same thing, but with a different attitude. Right? There's something called Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. I'm connecting 2 words here in this 4. Okay. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. In another phrase is Ishvara Pranidhan. Right? What is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi? That means I don't offer anything to anybody in this planet. I offer everything to Ishvara. Means what? I offer everything to this knowledge and I receive everything from the knowledge. That's it. Right? Like I help you. It's not I help you, because the moment I think I help you, then I expect something from you. But the moment I say I am doing an action which is towards you, but it is an Ishvara Arpana, that means it's an offering to the intelligence, and the intelligence will give it back to me. It will give it back to me. It need not necessarily come from you. In fact, many people ask this question. I did so much good to him. That fellow stabbed me on the back. No gratitude, ungrateful fellow. Who is asking you to expect it from the same person? What goes around comes around means what? You put it into a system, the system will give it back. It need not come from the same person. Right? Someone else will give it. I plant a tree. The same tree may not give me the fruit. But during my lifetime, I will get fruits, maybe from a different tree. Maybe someone will give me. So everything goes into the system. Everything comes out of the system. Need not come from the same person. Right? Many times, even in our relation circle, friend circle, we feel miserable because we have done so much and we are getting nothing back. Right? We will get back if we did it sincerely. So everything is connected to mindset. There is a huge amount of importance given to mindset. Right? Buddhi also means mindset. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Ishvara Arpana Buddhi is called, please offer everything as if you are offering to that intelligence, not to a person. Like, in fact, when I'm doing this joyful Vedanta journey, I know there are 66 people listening to me. I know there are 100 people who have logged in, whatever. I am not offering anything to any of you. I'm offering everything to the intelligence. Whatever needs to come back will come back. Need not come back from many of you. In fact, some of you may not even recognize me, even when I introduce myself to you. It's okay. Right? So I think we need to understand these 4 words very strongly. And that sets a basis for us to answer a lot of questions that might arise in our mind. Right? Let me move on to the 8 principles. Right? JP1, you will see on the left side top. JP stands for Jagat principle. I said we talked about 8 principles. So I've numbered them, right? So JP1 is Jagat principle 1. What is this principle? That's how it operates. You can ask questions, nobody stops you. But the answer will be, that's how it is. Right? Now, if we understand, we will live intelligently. If we accept it, we will live intelligently. If we don't accept it, it's okay. Right? We get affected by it. That's it. First principle, rather 3 parts to this, which is together form the first principle, is everything is connected through energy. The whole Jagat operates as a single piece. Like the whole human body operates as a single piece. Right? And as a single piece, it's a beautiful mechanism. Human body. Right? But the moment you start dissecting as to who is superior, who is inferior, then we have a problem. Right? But together it works. Same way, the whole Jagat works as a single piece. You remove bees out of the system, honey bees out of the system, the whole thing will collapse. Because if bees is not there, pollination will not happen. If pollination doesn't happen, vegetables and fruits won't come. If vegetables and fruits don't come, herbivorous animals cannot survive. If herbivorous animals cannot survive, carnivorous animals cannot survive. The whole ecology will get completely crashed if you remove ants out of the system, because ants are at the highest of the food chain. Right? So everything is connected, and everything is connected through energy, which means the planets which are miles away can have an impact on every species, not just me. Right? And every planet can have an impact on every other planet. I can have an impact on everything around me. In fact, we've seen that, right? We have abused the nature. We have abused Mother Earth. And we see the effect of it. It's not about me throwing plastic into the ocean. The whole ecology has got disturbed. Right? And our ancestors, the rishis, understood that everything is connected. And so they came out with processes which never abused any element of the nature. Everything was looked at with reverence. Everything was looked at with respect. We started doing some, with rice flour to feed the ants. We respected everything because we realized that everything is connected at the end of it. So everything is connected through energy. It's a principle. Right? Second, the impact is context-based. What's the meaning of impact of that is context-based? That means the effect that somebody can have on you, because each of us keep influencing each other, the impact that anybody can have on you depends on the context. I need to give an example here. A magnet attracts. That's a property of the magnet. But it doesn't attract wood. It attracts only ferrous material. Right? So a great leader inspires. Okay, inspiration is magnetic characteristic. But that person is just a leader. He is just inspiring, but not everyone will get inspired because the other person has to be a ferrous material to be attracted. If the other person is not ferrous material, gone. Okay. I talk about the organization that I'm working for in a particular way inside the cafeteria. But I don't talk about the organization in the same way in front of my bosses. In front of my bosses, I don't say the same things. Right? Similarly, my behavior changes when I'm in front of my parents. My behavior changes when I'm in front of my spouse. Behavior changes when I'm in front of my friends. Everything is context dependent. The same way, for example, if you say Jupiter as a planet affects you, but Jupiter having an effect on you depends on what you are also. That means Jupiter doesn't affect everybody the same way. It depends on what you are, the context. And not only that, Jupiter may not have the same impact on you if Saturn is close to it. It's like saying, if my boss is next to me, then what I say is very different. We all say Saturn, 7.5 years of Saturn is affecting me. But look at it carefully. Maybe the Mother Earth is looking at each of us as Saturn. Because we are abusing the Mother Earth, right? So for Mother Earth, maybe we are the Saturn. Right? So impact of something is purely context-based, and I think we need to know the context, right? Only then we can say this has an impact, this doesn't have an impact, right? This is the second sub-principle of JP1. The third sub-principle of JP1 is space versus energy in space. I think we need to understand this really well. Space by itself does not get affected at all. It is non-affectable. You can't affect space. You can't corrupt space. But you can corrupt the energy in space. Right? Like when I abuse, the energy in space is abused. Right? So we need to differentiate between space versus energy in space. Space is the ultimate Brahman, the Sakshi Bhava, the pure witness principle. Space is just a witness with absolutely no reactions. Your murder happens in space, it just witnesses. Your yajna happens in space, it just witnesses. Right? So that's why they say Brahman is a witness principle. It's a Sakshi Bhava. Right? Your mirror is a Sakshi Bhava. You go stand in front of the mirror dressed like a king, it will show you as a king. Within 5 minutes, you go like a beggar, it will show you as a beggar. It won't ask you, 5 minutes back you were a king, what's wrong? It doesn't store anything. There is no database to a mirror. Right? So we need to understand that the principle of space is very different from principle of energy in space. What is getting impacted is energy. That's why I go back to the first point. Everything is connected through energy. Which is what Einstein also said, that there's nothing else but energy, which is what Isha Upanishad, the first Upanishad, first line said, Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Right? And all connections happen through energy. In fact, without energy, communication technology cannot happen. I talked today on a mobile phone, right? The analog signal is converted to digital signal. That signal is transmitted to a tower. From the tower, it goes to the satellite. From the satellite, it's picked up by another tower. From that tower, it moves on to another mobile phone. Then the digital signal is reconverted back to analog. And the other person hears everything, word by word, emotion by emotion, tone by tone, volume by volume, hears. How is all this possible? By one property. What is that one property? The energy moves in space. That's it. Why? I don't have an answer. Why can't energy be stationary in space? I don't know. That's how it is. Right. JP2. Jagat principle 2. Closed loop versus open loop. Observe your body. Our body is full of systems. Okay, what's a system? A technical definition. A set of interconnected parts working to serve a common purpose. Technical definition. Okay. Our body is full of systems like what? Nervous system, muscular system, skeletal system, circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system. Everything is a system. Look at the systems very carefully. All the systems follow the architecture of closed loop. What is closed loop? Everything starts and closes inside a particular body. That's it. My digestive system starts and ends inside my stula sharira. Your digestive system starts and ends inside your stula sharira. My digestive system cannot affect your digestive system because it's closed loop. Why is it closed loop? That's how it is. There are many, many elements of Jagat which is closed loop. We can't do anything about it. There are elements which are open loop also. What's the meaning of open loop? My open loop can affect your open loop. And that open loop happens through Sukshma Sharira. That is through the mind. I can influence your thoughts. I can influence your feelings. You can influence my thoughts. You can influence my feelings. There are only two open channels for our system. The two open channels are thoughts and feelings. And when we say everything is connected to everything, it is these two channels through which we get influenced. Our thoughts and our feelings. In fact, we say we go through a bad time. What's the meaning of bad time? If suppose some planets are affecting us in a bad way, what does it actually mean? It will affect the way we think. Our decisions will be wrong. That's it. We will not be able to think clearly. There'll be a lot of stress building up inside, which is feelings. Thoughts and feelings are the two openings for the Sukshma Sharira of the mind. And that's it. And everything is connected. And how it goes inside and comes out? It goes inside and comes out in energy form. Right. So everything that's moving around constantly is vibrating particles, nothing but energy. So closed loop and open loop is the second principle that we must know. There's nothing you can do about closed loop. Nothing. Right. Open loop, yes. Right. Germination, pollination is closed loop for a plant. You can't do anything about it. But you can make a plant feel good by talking to the plant. There's a beautiful WhatsApp video which is floating around, which talks about how a guy did a research on the same 3 different seeds planted in 3 different pots. Beautiful video. Maybe I can just send it across to you. You can take a look. All right. Open loop is you can make a plant feel. Open loop is you can make an animal feel. But closed loop, it's all programmed. There's nothing you can do about it. Right? We can only know it. Right? JP2, Jagat principle 2, closed loop, open loop. Jagat principle on energy. Jagat principle 3. There is continuous feedback. Question is, are we tuned to listen to it? Okay. Believe me, everything, every time there is communication. Okay. You do one action, there's something that changes around. Suppose I use an abusive word, the face of the other person changes. But am I tuned in to study the body language? If I'm not tuned in, I will ignore the body language because I don't even know. Right? That the other person is surprised. I don't even know. But if I know body language, I know that when the eyebrows are lifted, the person is surprised. And I saw eyebrows lifted, and so I know that the person was surprised about what I said. Right? Suppose I ask a question and the other person's eyeballs goes to the left side of his head. I know that the person is thinking. If I know body language as a subject, I know that the person is thinking. If I don't know body language, I don't know that because I don't observe it. But please remember, everything in Jagat is a continuous feedback. Right? And we must be tuned to listen to it. Right? There were a lot of questions today posted by Jayashree on omens. Your flower is falling on a lamb. Your cat is crossing. Is a good omen, bad omen. Right? All these omens that have come about, not all of them are real. Many of them are introduced by ignorant people or half-knowledge people. But as a concept, Omen itself is nothing but a signal. It's a feedback. Right? But provided we are tuned in and we are qualified enough to receive that signal. Right? Your flower fell because it was not kept carefully. That's all. It is no feedback to you at all. Just like how in body language we say when somebody is holding hands, he's very defensive. Not necessary. Maybe the AC in the room is too chill and that person is feeling cold and so he's holding hands. Right. Same way. Not all those signals are feedbacks, but remember there are signals, right? And those signals do convey something. And only when we are knowledgeable, jnana yoga, it's only knowledge which will liberate us. Right? That's why so much emphasis in Bhagavad Gita and jnana yoga. First 6 chapters, if you go back to the the Gita Jayanti session I did, first 6 chapters is karma yoga, next 6 chapters is upasana yoga, last 6 chapters is jnana yoga. And I said all the 3 are important, right? Karma yogena mala nivrittihi, upasana yogena vikshepa nivritti, jnana yogena ajnana nivritti. All the 3 are important, right? Question is, are we tuned? So the Jagat principle 3 is there is continuous feedback. Look at the energy. All your questions related to Ragu Kala, good time, bad time, good yoga, good day, bad day, everything can be answered if we understand the energy principle. There are times when it is conducive for certain things. There are times when it is not conducive for certain things. 3:30 to 3:40 in the morning. Just try waking up a few days and just observe the whole silence. You will know why it is called Brahma Muhurta. What you can achieve in 1 hour, you can achieve in 5 minutes in that time between 3:30 and 3:40. Right? Because that is how it is. The energy space is different and everything is connected. That's all. Right? You can go back to sleep later. Try waking up at 3:30 and do something between 3:30 and 4, and then maybe you can sleep later, but you will see your productivity increase a lot. That's called Brahma Muhurta. So all these questions related to is Rahu Kala correct, is Marana Yogam correct, is that right, is that right? Everything can be understood by understanding the whole concept of everything is connected through energy and everything affects everything else. Right? All your good omen, bad omen can be connected to your continuous feedback or be tuned in. But not everything. Just like how I say astrology is a science, but astrologer need not know the science very well. Right? So believing in astrology and believing in an astrologer are 2 different things. Right? Same way, being able to receive the feedback, which is also called as omen only, vis-a-vis confusing something which is just an accidental happening and interpreting that as a bad omen may not produce the result. And what can liberate you in this matter? Only Jnana Yoga, only deep knowledge, nothing else. Right? JP4. There are only 2 types of energies in the whole Jagat: electric energy and magnetic energy. Electric is push energy, magnetic is pull energy. That's all. These 2 energies are manifested everywhere, including inside a human being. You will find different human beings who are electric in nature. They'll push, they'll persuade. They'll say, come on, let's do it, let's do it. They'll show tremendous sense of urgency. They're great pushers. They'll say, let's exploit the situation. Let's get the best out of the market. Let's do it in the next 5 minutes. There are people who are magnetic energy. They'll just stay, do what they want to do, and everyone will get attracted. They'll want to spend more time with this person. Right? And these 2 energies are manifested in you. They're manifested in me. They're manifested in every human being. There are some people who are high electric, like Steve Ballmer of Microsoft. There are some people who are highly magnetic, Steve Jobs of Apple. Dr. Kalam, highly magnetic. Right? And there are people who have a good balance of both. who are in the intersection zone of the two circles. But let's understand there are only two energies which are in the Jagat: electric energy and magnetic energy. The solar system, entire solar system functions by magnetic energy. Highly reliable. Right. JP5. Very important concept. Very, very important concept. Swabhava. What is Swabhava? The natural attribute is called as Swabhava. Right? The Swabhava of positive energy is flowing in nature. If you categorize the energy as positive and negative, the Swabhava of positive energy is flowing in nature. The Swabhava of negative energy is staying in nature. This is a law. That is why it's so common to find that all the good words you spoke about somebody, they don't remember. All the good things you did to somebody, they don't remember. One bad word, one bad thing that you did, they remember for the rest of their life. Right? Why? Simply because all the positive things just flew away. Whereas the negative things, in technical terms, we call it persistent. It stayed. It sticks. Right? Okay. For example, even in fact, I was just talking to another group of people on a different context. Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, is remover of obstacles. That's what we say. Is there any god for instilling obstacles? Have you heard of a god for instilling obstacles? No. Right? Saraswati is goddess for knowledge. Have you ever heard of a goddess for ignorance? No. But whereas when it comes to wealth, we say there is goddess of wealth, which is Sri Devi, and there is goddess of opposite of wealth, which is Daridra. We call it Bhudevi, right? If you see very carefully, beautifully, Sri Devi is a flowing energy. Wealth is a flowing energy. Lakshmi doesn't stay in one place. She has to keep moving. Whereas Bhudevi stays in that place. Once she enters, it just stays. Right? Ashta Aishwaryam is what we call Sri Devi. Ashta Daridram is what we call Bhudevi. Again, in Lingashtam, we say Ashta Daridra Vinashanili. Right? Because the Swabhava of negative energy is staying. Swabhava of positive energy is flowing. That's why we always say, from a commonsensical angle, before you speak out a negative word, before you speak out criticism, please think, because that word once spoken cannot be taken back. It has a tendency to stick. Why does it have a tendency to stick? Because that is Jagat principle. Right? If you understand it, we will live intelligently. If you don't, I think we will possibly go through anxiety, stress, all kinds of emotions. Right? So Jagat principle 5 is Swabhava of positive energy is flowing, and Swabhava of negative energy is staying. Right? And negativity sticks far, far, far more than positivity. And that is what unfortunately is exploited by media, exploited by a lot of things, a lot of other people. Right? All the good work done by somebody is completely forgotten. A couple of bad things done just before election will take all the precedence, and election results are determined based on that. And people who understand this exploit it. Right? This is Jagat principle 5. Jagat principle 6. Impact of karma. Karma is action. It's deliberate action. Right? Now, any action we do, like I am talking now, it's an action. Karma as a word means action and inaction, both. Karma as a word means action and inaction, both. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a beautiful shloka on action in inaction and inaction in action. Right? Right. Like Bhishma, he kept quiet when Draupadi was stripped in the court. His keeping quiet was action in inaction. He didn't act. That was inaction. But it was actually action. That's called karma by omission. Karma by omission is you omit doing what you're supposed to do. At that place, he had the power to stop the whole nonsense. He didn't. He attracted bad karma. And he ended up lying on a bed of arrows for a long time. Right? Karma by omission is you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Karma by commission is you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. Classic example, karma by commission was Duryodhana. He did a lot of things that he was not supposed to do. Right? So karma is not only action, it's also inaction, is also karma only. And any karma we do has an impact on 3 different spaces. First is a self space. An action that I do affects me. Then an action that I do affects others surrounding. When I say others, not necessarily other human beings, other species, other living, non-living beings around. A karma that I do affects others. Third, very important, it affects the energy in the space. So when I chant a mantra every day morning in front of the puja room, right, it affects the energy in that space. And that energy in that space will move. Go back to principle number 1. Right. Even though I do puja in the puja room, the whole house has the vibration because of the Jagat principle 1, that everything is connected by energy and energy moves. Right? When I ring the bell, it's a vibration. It's a sound. When I blow the conch, it's a vibration, which is a sound. So when I stand in front of an idol, my Ishtadevata, and do a puja for 15 minutes, what actually happens is for that 15 minutes, my mind is very pious. My mind is not generating any negative thoughts. My mouth is not uttering any negative words. Right? For that 15 minutes. It helps me, self. It helps other people. Right? Because the rest of the time, other than the 15 minutes, I abuse everybody in the house. Right? At least for that 15 minutes, at least when the guy is doing puja, at least the house is peaceful. Right? So it helps me. It helps others, and it helps the energy in that space, right? So different karmas, different actions have been said to be done primarily for our own benefit. That's it. It is not going to affect the Hanuman in front. It's not going to affect the Muruga in front. When you offer an Nevedyam, he is not going to come and eat. Let God come and eat one Nevedyam in one house. Let me see how many people offer Nevedyam later. That report has to come in the newspaper one day or a TV channel. That God ate the Nevedyam offered fully. Right? I don't think we'll ever offer Nevedyam. Right? You know, let's understand all this rituals that we are doing, various rituals that we are doing. It is primarily for us to impact our minds. And when our mind is affected through the energy principle, it will affect other minds and it will affect the energy in the space. That's all. Nothing else. And since everything is connected to everything, you are causing an impact. Right? And that's a positive impact, not a negative impact. Right? Yeah. So when you visit your nightclub, a pub, every night regularly, go there and drink and dance, yeah, your mind is already affected, and that you will carry it all around, and you will pass it on to others. Right? Everyone gets influenced, whether we like it or not. I cannot be without influencing you. You cannot be without influencing me, because Open loop. What is open loop? Thoughts and feelings. You can't stop it. You can't stop the influence because it's open loop architecture. Right. So, impact of karma, self, others, and energy in the space. Karma does not and cannot affect space. It cannot, because space is non-affectable. It is Paramatma. It is a witness principle. It is Shakshi Bhava. The impact of karma. JP7. Each person's journey is unique. There are questions like Jashi posted, astrologer said somebody has a long life, but when the son's karma to do the rights of the parent came, the parent died. How can one person's karma affect another person's karma? One person's karma cannot affect another person's karma. They are just joined together. That's it. I think I explained it in the last session. Right? One person's karma cannot affect another person's karma. They are just the intelligence. The intelligence is so beautiful outside that it brings different contexts together so that many people's karma gets exhausted at the same time. The son's karma to do the rights and the father's prarabdha karma, which ends. Everything happens at the same time. And that's how they're linked. And that's the beauty of the intelligence. Right? It is not because the son's karma came up to do the rights that the father passed away. No, it's not. Father passed away when the father's prarabdha karma ended, unless, of course, there is a murder or a suicide. And there are different cases. We will discuss that maybe in a different session, where the life is ended abruptly. Okay. Otherwise, prarabdha karma is over and the person left. That's it. Each person's journey is unique, and I don't think we can affect anything, right? And karma pala, you cannot run away from it. Like there was a question, there were a few questions in my personal window, right? Posted by somebody who said, of course, I maintain the respect, the confidentiality and privacy of the person, right? My in-laws are abusing me. My husband is abusing me. Husband is exhausting his karma by abusing me and giving me that experience of abuse. Should I just accept it as it is? Not necessary. Maybe, yeah, he's delivering a karma to you like an Amazon agent is delivering something to you. But by keeping quiet and not doing anything about it, you are incurring agamya karma. And the effect of that agamya karma is what you're suffering. Don't blame it on prarabdha karma. Maybe prarabdha karma does not define that you should get abused. No. Your inaction is also karma. When somebody is abusing you, you sit there and accept it. Right? The general nature is you get what you accept. That's a general law. So you accept bullshit, you will get bullshit. You accept excuses, you will get excuses. You accept mediocrity, you will get mediocrity. We get what we accept. So when somebody is abusing us, when we accept it, that is inaction. And that inaction is also karma. And that karma is agamya karma. The pala of that is experienced in this birth itself for you and you're suffering. Don't blame it on prarabdha karma. Right? Not everything is connected to prarabdha karma. Here, right now, you have to do something. Do it. I've seen some people telling, I was born in this star, so I can never be wealthy. Are you're not making efforts here. You're not making efforts to become wealthy. You're not wealthy because you're not making efforts to become wealthy. Don't blame it on the star. Don't blame it on the Rashi. Why? So each person's journey is unique. Stand damn strong on this foundation, please. Right? Our karma, we are accountable for what is happening to us. We are the only one accountable for it. We have no business to blame someone else. And our inaction is agamya karma. And if you blame it on prarabdha karma, it is ajnanam, it is ignorance. That's all. Right? For example, someone told me, hey, you know what? You're born in Chitra Nakshitram, and so you will never be wealthy. So I didn't put any efforts and I never became wealthy. And that kind of became a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And I go back and tell him, see, he was right here. I never became wealthy because I was born in Chitra Nakshitram. What rubbish? I put in effort. I didn't put in effort. Right? So each person's journey is unique. Right? Yeah. And there are questions like, there is instant moksha. I mean, today we are in an instant world, right? Instant coffee, instant tiffin, instant moksha. And there are Facebook posts and there are pages that say, I'll give you instant moksha, you come. No, there is no concept of instant moksha. What will happen to the agamya karma? It will just hang somewhere. No, it won't hang somewhere. It has to get exhausted anyway. Right? There are people who believe that if I kill somebody and I go to a geographical location called heaven and God is waiting there to put me on his lap. Sorry, again, ignorance. Right. Knowledge, pure, unadulterated, objective knowledge alone can liberate us. Right. Babu Arangaswamy's beautiful post, Bhajagovindam reference, right? Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam, Bhajamudamate, Samprapte Sannigite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karan. Right? Your grammar knowledge will not save you at the end. It's only knowledge, pure knowledge. Be aware, be strongly rooted on the fundamental principles, please. And whenever a question comes into your mind, map these principles and try to answer it yourself. We will find an answer. We can't separate out the junk from the truth. A lot of junk has got added in terms of superstition, in terms of, sagunam, whatever you call it, sagun. Lot of junk, absolute, sorry to use the word absolute, shit has been added by many people. We ourselves will be able to remove it. We can, provided we are strongly grounded on these principles. Last principle, JP 8, Jagat principle 8. Right? The entire journey is about going from lower frequency energy to a higher frequency energy. Instinct is a lower frequency energy. Intellect is a higher frequency energy. Intuition is a much higher frequency energy. That's what we saw. Right? Everything is about moving from a lower frequency energy to a higher frequency energy. That's what this entire evolution is about. That's why there is a difference between evolving and growing. And the tagline of Joyful Vedanta is joyfully evolving into ourselves. We are not evolving outside. We are evolving into ourselves. Right? Stage 1 is the animal man. I am using the word man here in a gender neutral manner. So please don't think there is a gender bias here. Gender bias here. No. Right? I can use the word animal person and I can try to be gender neutral, but animal man communicates, and that's how it is mentioned. And so I'm using the same word. Man here refers to both man and woman, please. Right? No gender bias. I just don't want you to assume any gender bias here. So animal man, what is animal man? Animal man is the first stage of evolution where we operate out of our instincts. Right? We operate out of an impulsive nature. The second stage is the man, the human man, right? Where we move from instinct to intellect, start asking questions, try to understand logically. Don't get influenced just because somebody is telling something. We intellectually analyze a lot of things. We ask questions. We don't feel bad when we ask questions. We don't feel bad when somebody abuses us on our question. We move to somebody else. That's all. Right. We process intellect, all that. Then we go to God man. Unfortunately, the word God man has been corrupted a lot today because of certain very negative God men. But God man actually means the third stage of evolution where you become God. That means what? You become one with the order. You become one with the intelligence. Now, what are the attributes of this? Animal man is driven by fear, jealousy, self-centered, and take. You keep on taking from others. Whatever they give, you keep on taking. Free download, take it. Consumer, right? Animal man, impulsive. No gap between stimulus and response. No gap. Stimulus, response. That's it. The gap is not there. There is no space between the two. Right? Somebody called me by a bad word. I called them by another 5. I gave them a mouthful. Right? Animal man. Man, driven by comparison, competition. Go back to season 1, first session, where we talked about the fundamental, the fundamental human problem, self-consciousness. Self-consciousness leading to self-comparison. Self-comparison leading to self-judgment. Self-judgment leading to purusharthas, goals. Connected. Which results in competition, which results in greed. I should have everything. Became self-centered again. And you give and take also, but give also depends on what you take. Right? Second stage. Right? This is where people give out of ego. They give charity out of ego. Right? I remember distinctly, I am associated with an NGO in Chennai. And a CEO of a company came in and with a full bag of new clothes and announced in the reception that today is my birthday. I want to give new clothes to all the people here. So the receptionist informed the secretary and said, "Sir, secretary will come. Please wait." He waited for 10 minutes. "Where is the secretary?" "Sir, she is in a meeting. She'll come." 1 hour he was made to wait. After that, he got annoyed. He said, "I've come here to give damn new clothes on my birthday and there's nobody to take it. What rubbish." When he shouted, the secretary of the NGO politely came out and said, "Sir, if you have a bag of or a sack of rice, please give it. The children have not eaten for 1 month." 1 month is exaggeration. I'm just giving an example. Children have not eaten for a few days. You know what it means? Are we giving what others want, or are we giving what we don't need? Go back and look at how we give. We many, many times give what we don't need, and we call it giving. We need to give what others want, what others need. Right? So, man, it's all centered there. Okay? My give is because I want to take something. I want to go and tell Facebook that, look, I have done this. God man. Higher order, higher frequency emotions, not lower frequency emotions. I suggested a book, Power versus Force, where all emotions were frequency mapped. Fear, shame, lower frequency, gratitude, forgiving, give compassion. Higher frequency. And when we drive ourselves, so the whole thing is helping us to evolve. Right? Now let's look at some of the rituals we have. Okay. You do a ritual called, say, Sandhya Vandanam. Some of us do that, Sandhya Vandanam. If you look at deeply the Sandhya Vandanam, it is all about gratitude to everything around us. You turn to every direction and give gratitude. Gratitude to south direction, gratitude to east direction, gratitude to sun, gratitude to moon. We do Brahma Yajnam, gratitude to our ancestors. Doesn't matter who. The Shraddham we do. Nothing to do with whether I offer 3 bowls of rice. Will my grandfather come and eat the rice? It's not about offering rice to grandfather. It is about developing a mindset, a buddhi. Remember, buddhi also means mindset. Developing a buddhi of gratitude. I am carrying my grandfather on me. If you take the photograph of my grandfather and if you look at a photograph of me, there is a nose which is similar. There is a ear which is similar. I carry the grandfather on me. I better be grateful to him. I better be grateful to my entire lineage. Right? It's a culture of gratitude. It's a culture of thankfulness. Right? Why should I use sesame seeds? Why can't I use something else? Why should I use this? Why should I not use this? Right? We can ask questions, no problem. At some point, we will say, I don't know. That's how it is. But let's understand the spirit. They say the spirit of the law, right? The spirit is a sense of gratitude. I must offer a sense of gratitude every day from morning to evening. Can I live in an attitude of gratitude? Can I live in an attitude of prarthana, prayer, which means I stay in a positive frame of mind. Everything is oriented towards me alone. We offer gratitude to the person who cooked the food. It's not about transactionally saying, hey, good food, man. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about genuinely thanking, right? Annadhata sukhino bhavantu. Right? Annadhata sukhi bhava. Let's pray for their welfare. So the whole culture is not ritual driven. The whole culture is higher order energy driven, which is gratitude, which is forgiving, which is giving, and which is compassion. If we understand and anchor on these principles, there are many rituals which we can do willingly, which we can do out of knowledge, because it is intended to develop these attributes in us, right? So this is Jagat principle 8, right? I thought it's important that I clarify these things to us, because tons and tons of questions can get clarified if we get rooted on these basics, right? This was the last slide in the last session. I'm bringing it back because this will also be the last slide in this session. And I'm hoping next session, we will continue our journey on the 12 parts of Karmatrayam, Shariratrayam, Panchakosham, and Avastatrayam at 3 levels of depth. So with this trigger question, or thoughts generated or attracted is magnetic energy, right? Is there magnetic energy which is attracting thoughts in us? And can I enhance that energy? With these questions, I would like to close this session.